Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Lewis with We Are Winter Garden, and we are joined today by Pastor Scott, who is the president, founder, and CEO of Matthew's Hope Ministries. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And Shelley Bradford, who is the vice president and executive director of Matthew's Hope. Thank you both for being here. We are on episode 26 of Straight Talk, No BS with Matthew's Hope. And today we're going to talk about what motivates Shelley and Pastor Scott to continue to do the work that they're doing here with the Matthew's Hope Ministry. But before we get into that, Shelley, where are we at? This is a beautiful space, and tell me more about it.
So we are in the newly renovated bridal suite, which I think is just so cool. When we first started in the venue realm, people kept saying to us, you don't have a place for, brides and grooms to get dressed. And so slowly but surely, with time, we've pulled things together and worked with our contractor, and he's come up with some really cool ideas. So this is where we are.
I love it. And we're in Brevard
I want to get
County.
married again.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there
To
you
the
go.
same husband.
I was going to say.
We should actually plan that. Scott,
Surprise. Yeah.
Scott, tell me more about this space. What's it called?
Well, I think we call it Trinity Oaks of Matthew's Hope.
Okay.
And, the purpose of it really came about is we got about 6 acres here.
Nice.
About 38,000 square feet of building we care for. And we got to raise a lot of money. I mean, we're looking at the possibility of somewhere being when you add everything in together, food, clothing, hygiene, medical, vehicles, all this. We could be in the range of $15 million this next year. And you start looking at that, it can be a bit overwhelming. I try not to think about it. But when you think that we basically go through about $100,000 of resources a week, in just food, clothing, hygiene, the numbers add up really quick. And so when we were able to obtain this property, it has a 400 seat sanctuary.
Nice.
But the places that people wanted to spend their time and their money is in the groom's area, the groom's room, as we call it, or the bridal suite. And so we started going to work on it with a lot of really cool vintage furniture and some very cool warm looks and stuff. And the idea is that it would help offset some of the costs that we have to do, give us a place that we can also use for events that we don't have to rent from somebody else, but also be able to open it up to our community for different events. And we've already hosted several things here for the chamber and some other things. And we've had some other nonprofits asking us to help, and we're going to be able to do that. So it's a neat place to put because getting other people on this property is the key. When you see the beauty of this and outside with the trees lit up, the oak trees lit up, and knowing that you can have, you could be married here and go right across the courtyard and be able to have your sit down meal and what have you, your reception with a dance floor and a stage. It's pretty cool stuff.
It is a very
So it's exciting.
space.
It's exciting for us.
So if you know of anyone who is getting married, please let them know about Trinity Oaks in Brevard County and come take a tour and see if you like your special day here.
Nice.
So let's dive in. Shelley, what has been the more difficult situation that's happened this past week?
People expect you to fix everything. And I'll tell you, it wasn't last week. It wasn't this last week, but a couple weeks ago, in the middle of the night, a hospital just dropped a man off at our doorstep.
Oh.
And you feel so bad for him because he was told we were a shelter and we're not. And what do you do? What do you do for him? So that's so frustrating. And what was even more frustrating is I couldn't find out. Nobody knew where he came from. He didn't even know where he came from.
Oh, no.
And so I couldn't even educate the hospital that he came from to let them know we're not a drop-in shelter. Please take us off that list. That's probably been one of my more frustrating, more recent things that's happened.
Yeah.
And, because you just want to, I don't feel like these people are, these people who work with the community want to frustrate homeless people. They really, truly want to help.
Right.
So I don't feel like they're doing it maliciously here. But in the same sense, we've got to get to those people to let them know the truth and how to really help. And don't just drop somebody off on a doorstep in the middle of the night.
Definitely.
Just don't do it.
Scott, how about
We definitely have our share of helpers.
Sure.
And, at the risk of most things that come out of my mouth with ticking somebody off, it often is sometimes the do-gooders that haven't educated themselves on what the resources really are. Even on Facebook and Times and other social media things, that people say, well, there's this, there's that, and the other thing. And I'm going, well, if there are all those things, would you let us know?
Right.
Because we would love to know about those resources and be able to, I've been getting those kind of calls for the last 20 years, and 14 is Matthew's Hope. And it's very frustrating when you're sitting there going, you care and you want to do something, but you don't even know where to start. And like Shelley said, nobody told anybody, didn't give us any insight to who they were sending our way, made a phone call, call us and say, hey, we got this. Can you help?
Right.
And all that times, maybe we can't help, but maybe we know who can.
Definitely.
But, the truth is, in this day and age, there's not much help out there at all. And it's tough, and it's going to get a lot tougher.
Yeah. So that happened in Orange County. Scott, has there been something that's happened recently in Brevard County that's been kind of difficult or frustrating?
Matthew's Hope is Jesus to Brevard County now.
Oh, please explain.
I appreciate the fact that people have noticed what we do and how we do it. But I think that sometimes there's, again, the lack of education. Oh, just call Matthew's Hope. And we've had the same situation here where we've had some other local nonprofits drop people off here or send people here saying, well, Matthew's Hope has the resources to help you. The truth is, and I've been saying this for 14 years, we've always looked bigger than we are. There is no pot of money sitting around. In fact, the truth is we operate week to week when it gets really down to it. Now, I don't want to put anybody in fear that we're going out of business or anything like that. But the truth is, for the last 3 years since the pandemic started, we've not set on any reserves, and our budgets have exploded. We burst through any kind of budgeting we had. But the opportunity or the challenge, depending on how you look at it, each and every time we deal with one of these situations is, do you want to be the person that says no? Do you want to stand at the door and say, I'm not helping?
Right.
I think because of the type of ministry we are, we make eye contact. We peer into their souls. They aren't just some homeless person. They are an individual that happens to be homeless. And that is good and bad. I understand why many others do it differently.
Yeah.
It's easier. But the best of things in life are not easy.
Definitely.
And the biggest challenges that are conquered in life aren't done because they're easy. I said something to you, I think just yesterday. And I'm trying to remember how you responded to me. You go, you remember the text? And you said something like, it's not going to get easier or something like that. And
He's going to do it.
But we're going to do it. And for me, I think that why Shelley has become such a not just an employee to me, but a partner in this ministry is that she knows, she understands my thinking. She understands my vision, but she also understands that sometimes that weight gets heavy on me.
Yeah.
And she just reminds me that I'm not alone. And that's a huge thing because it can be very lonely. Some people, oh, you got 45 employees. I said, yeah, now I got 45 people that are expecting a paycheck.
Right.
That have families. So the burden gets bigger because it's not like I can run a 2-for-1 this week.
Right.
And, hey, we'll throw in this homeless veteran and we're going to throw in a schizophrenic this week, to help raise some funds. It doesn't work that way. And I think because of our appearance at times that people think we have a lot of money. And then you throw in all the other things that have happened in the world over the last few years. And quite honestly, though our donor base continues to grow, money is being spread out a lot more than it used to be. And so that's something that when these people get dumped on you, it's not like me just sitting there going, okay, I have this money over here. I can do this, and that. It's, am I willing to walk out in faith and try to accomplish something with this, not knowing if the money's going to be there or not?
We do that a lot.
Probably 99% of the time. Yeah. It's probably more like that over the years than anything is.
Yes.
And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, there's times when I say that and the faith in me rocks on with that. The humanness in me goes, good Lord, you know, how about just a little heads up next time that, you know, I'm going to be asked to spend $1,000 that I don't have,
Right.
you know? So, you know, I think that overall the last few years have been the toughest, but I feel like we're walking into a time that our country has never seen before.
Yeah.
No matter who's elected or what have you, I don't think it's going to matter. I think that we're a very interesting place just in how people respond to one another. You used to be able to sit around a table like this with your friends and disagree on something, but you loved each other, your friends. Now, if you disagree, you have to be an enemy.
Right.
And now you throw that into this homeless crisis taking place. And it's a very divided, there's no middle of the ground people.
Right.
It's either we do everything or we do nothing. And we swim in the gray. We live in the gray. There's black and white, but that's where we live. And you know, it's not that I don't have my own views politically and otherwise, but the reality of it is where we're at right now is painful.
Yeah, that is super challenging. I can't even imagine. So for the helpers out there who are wanting to help maybe hospitals or organizations, and before bringing somebody to you guys, would it be helpful for them to call you and be like, hey, this is the situation. This is what's going on. Are you the right resource, or do you know of this resource where we can help this person?
That's absolutely
Is that
what
the
we
best
want.
way to do it? Okay.
That would be that would be heaven.
Yeah.
If that
And
happens.
here's the funny part. If we could accomplish that, we would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, one of the challenges with our hospital systems in our particular areas we serve about 15 municipalities, is they're in constant growth. So just when you start to think you have a relationship in an area, that person's now at another place.
Right.
And the other part of it is information does not get passed on what we really can do. You know, I can tell you that like recently here, the Brevard Sheriff's Department commanders were all here and have taken a deep interest in what we do. And then they had their domestic violence victims, victim advocates come out. That's the best thing, because when I could show them, and then now they know what we do, and now we have a place to start from where we can sit there and go, and here's how we can work together.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Do you think we're seeing more? So that just actually challenged me into thinking, do you think we're seeing more of the domestic violence side of homelessness? Or do you think that it's just become more prevalent because we're seeing it more on both campuses?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
I think the stress that people are under, look, I grew up in a family of domestic violence. I won't justify any of it. But I can't justify what was done to my family. That said, I'm adult enough to understand how these people got there. And the amount of stress that people are feeling is off the charts compared to anything we've seen. And so you think about what's happening we already know domestic violence is up as a whole.
Right.
Now you take that same individual, you either pack them into a small room because they're trying to all live in this small space. And where we've all had the thing, mom, and then all of a sudden you turn around and go, what? Yeah. But all of a sudden now it goes, mom, what? Yeah. And it's not necessarily they're bad people.
Sure.
But they have succumbed to this stress.
They're in a pressure cooker.
And the people that need the most help, quite honestly, can't afford it.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is now we end up having a domestic violence situation. We have a family that's now split. Possibly one has gone to jail.
Yeah.
And so it's exasperated a really tough problem already.
Yeah.
So we're hearing all of these tough, hard things. Shelley, how do you stick with it? Like, what keeps you motivated every day to continue to do this, to help so many people when it's so hard? I
feel like I've said this before, but if not me, who? And I feel like this is a calling. This is not, I could make a lot. Scott says this a lot, so I'm not saying this.
It's true.
Hey, by the way, I want a job. I want I want a raise, but no, I could make a lot more money somewhere else.
Right.
But I've known since I was a little girl that I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And this Matthew's Hope truly was a calling for me. And so that's what keeps me going every day. every now and then I'll have a moment, which I don't share very often with Scott, where I'll just go, I just don't think I can do this anymore. And Darren's like, babe, I can't see you doing one more thing.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, all right, okay. I got this. Okay. So,
And I threaten to throw in the towel pretty much every 72 hours.
well, you've said that so many times. I think that's probably why I don't say it.
We
but
need somebody to be up here when they're down here.
but I understand that.
Yeah.
I do understand it.
You get
And if we didn't feel that way, we wouldn't be normal.
Right.
well, yeah, and I try to tell Charlene sometimes the stress of what we do is not really what gets to me.
Right.
It's not that there's not it. You don't have to deal with that because we're dealing with crisis and dysfunction. My day literally starts with what just happened last night.
Yeah.
What do I have to deal with before I can even get into what's happening right now? And I kind of thrive in that environment, and I've understood that about myself. It's when you feel the constant beat down of who thinks you're not doing it right, who thinks you're not doing it enough, and for the most part, it's white noise to me.
Mhm.
You can only get beat up so far. But what happens is you do get tired and you just sit there and you go, God, I'm just done. Well, hell with it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, unless God were to whitewash, clean out my brain of what I know, what I've witnessed, what I've seen, I can't do anything else.
So there must have been some inspiration that help you guys move forward. You guys, I know, and we've talked about it in the past, but let's remind everybody, people have gotten new eyes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about inspiration like that, where you guys have helped people come off the streets. They're living their life now. They're reunited with your family. Let's talk a little bit about that, those inspirational stories.
Yeah. You think you want to? I mean, I can think of many things.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know there's a lot.
I try to encourage the staff all the time, especially those that have not been with us as long.
Mm-hmm.
Is really important for us to celebrate the victories.
For sure.
I'm constantly I'm going to put it this way, badgered on our success. What's your level of success? And I tell people all the time, I finally got to the place that it's 100%.
Yeah.
Because I know that everybody we've met with, everybody we've talked to, everybody we've served left here better than we came. And that's all we can ask for.
I remember the first time you said that to me, I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even work here yet. And
Yeah.
when you said that, I was like, well, that's an interesting way to look at it. And I totally understand that now.
Yeah.
Because that's true. Who makes that finish line?
Right.
Who makes that metric to say what's a success and what's not?
Right. I mean, we've got a couple guys we're working with right now that are making huge, unbelievable strides, and we like to put their physical transformations on social media that we share. What was harder to share is the internal transformations that are taking place. Yet also knowing that some of these people may never ever get off the streets.
Sure.
And that's a tough one because when Charlene and I are talking, and she's not only mine, but she's our lead advocate, and she comes very close to some of these people, and she's like, Scott, is there something that we can do to? And I'm going, babe, I haven't figured out the end game for that person, because we try to enter all our relationships with what's the end game. You can't, if you settle on the end game, is this person no longer being homeless?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get.
So you take
far.
it for
That's
a moment.
But that's what we want for them.
That's what
that might not be what they
Right.
want for them.
I feel like,
or even understand or know they want.
Right.
because you guys do outreaches, so you go out in the field, and then they also come in and you feed them, and they can bathe and stuff. And I feel like even just those moments are such a huge win and success, because I've seen them before. I haven't been in too often, but their smile and they're like, this person is looking at me in my eyes, and just in that moment, you can just feel them just like release and just feel so loved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny. We had a guy yesterday, and everybody's like, have you seen so-and-so? And I'm going, no, why? They go, you got to see him.
Yeah.
So different human being. And one of the interesting thing is one of the sergeants that were here from the Brevard County Sheriff's Department with the advocates. One of the things that he said, he's been following us on Facebook, and he goes, that's Rick over there, isn't it? And I go, yeah, it is. He goes, man, what a story that is. He says, I remember when you first posted the picture of him with the big beard and the hat. No, he goes, he doesn't look anything like that anymore. And then as he talked to Rick, he's going like, not only does he, I mean, wow, who would ever know that guy was homeless? And here's a guy who's been dealing as a victim advocate, dealing with some pretty serious crime and investigations. He sees some stuff. And so he can get jaded on how he looks at homeless people also. And so he said, this has been good for my soul to see this. So that's kind of cool. And again, those are the victories that's almost like when I feel like my tank's just about empty. I get one of those, okay, God says, here, I'm going to give you this for a minute. I know you need this.
Gives you a little pow and being like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. So what do you guys would feel would happen to the guests that you guys serve if Matthew's Hope wasn't here? Because we've talked about just the little things make such a huge impact on each person's life, even if they are still homeless a year from now.
I think it would be a pretty depressing thing for all of them. Because if nothing else, we are their safe place for 8 hours a week. I think it would be
gives me goosebumps.
Pretty depressing thing.
Yeah.
So I've thought about that.
I think the community would be shocked. I will tell you, there's been times where I've talked about shutting down for a few weeks and say, okay, I'll just let you feel it. Because I have people say, well, I don't see the homeless problem. Well, it's because we're investing a lot of money to hide it in plain sight and to provide opportunities for these folks and do things. I do really believe that we would see more domestic violence. I think we would see more hardcore crime. You don't see a lot of hardcore crime with homeless. You just don't. If you speak to at least any higher up in law enforcement, they will tell you these people are not committing the big crimes. It may be petty theft. It's usually trespassing, things like that. However, you take the one lifeline they have of having some self-dignity with the showers and the haircut and fresh clothing with their laundry and the other things that we supply, and then the companionship that we provide. You take that out of the mix, and I can assure you that I say with 100% certainty, it would be a disaster. The number of people that you think that may not increase the number of people out there. That's doing it anyhow, but you would certainly know they're there. And right now, when people complain or just all out bitch about certain things, I want to say, boy, if you only saw what I know that when I'm downtown Winter Garden or I'm in the village of Cocoa Village, I see the people because I know who they are.
Right.
And they'll smile at me because they know I know who they are. But they look like everybody else. We jokingly say that a few of the guys have left here looking like a Florida tourist. I said, I feel like getting years ago, like where all the guys had the cameras. I said, if we're still that, I'd go out and get y'all cameras and everybody think we're down here on vacation. Then if that goal is met, then once that happens, everything else starts to change. And I wish the general public could understand that.
Right.
How critical the small stuff starts that allows us to do the big things. That allows the people to buy into what we're doing. It's to buy into themselves. So many have bought into the lie. If everybody around you is looking at you with disgust all the time, you start, look, this is a great place for me. When I saw our previous podcast recently filmed, I had lost about 40 pounds and I had brought my shirts in. When I stand up, they look great. When I sat down from the angle that John had filmed me in, it really bothered me. It got in my head, and that self-doubt that was there since I was a little kid started to creep in. Now I know physically I'm in better shape.
Right.
I know physically I've lost 40 pounds, but it was in my head. Now all of a sudden I became very one reason I'm sitting in the middle right now, folks, the truth is, I think we did 25 of these. I've always sat over. I go, I can't do it. It's in my head. But I also know it's in my head. But when you have people around you that if nobody's around you, that it's in your head and they're banging you with, you bum, you're worthless. Why the hell are you here? You shouldn't be here. You should. when you don't have anybody to reinforce some self-esteem in you, what have you, then what happens is the wheels fall off and you will get exactly what you think was there. You have now created it.
Right.
You've created it.
Yep. Yep.
So you guys are doing such a huge impact, and I feel that I would love the community to know that success means in that moment and how they're feeling and how that's going to take a ripple effect, not only in their life, but how they treat other people as well. So I think that's pretty special. It's not just about getting them off the street, because sometimes they do stay in the streets, but like you said, they get a shower. They don't look homeless anymore. So it's impacting everybody. It's a huge ripple effect. So how can we as a community be a better support to you guys in Brevard and Orange County? What can we do to support your guys' efforts?
Well, of course, always donate, right?
Okay.
Financial donations are always helpful. Always, we are keeping up to date on Facebook our needs, which that is good. And if you're not sure, call, because
Perfect.
Both campuses have specific needs.
That's great.
If somebody has, we always talk about, people like to talk about the leases about financial. Okay, look, this beast requires a lot of nourishment to survive.
And if we talked about if you guys went away, the community would really start to notice.
Oh, well, and they would absorb the cost. It's kind of like that old thing where it's pay me now or pay me later.
Mm-hmm.
But if you invest now, don't think about spending money. Think about investing in your community now. That could make a huge difference. But kind of where I was going with that is that, it's time, talents, and treasures. Yes. If someone has a talent they can offer, like recently, we've now added another day to our medical services in Brevard, because we had another nurse practitioner step up and say, I'll be there every Thursday. We had another RN step up and said, I will commit to every Thursday morning. Mm. And so there you go. All of a sudden I went from serving, say, over here, the top we've got is about 15 people. So let's say we went from 15 and now we can do 30.
Wow.
Which we're hitting numbers closer to 40 in Orange County every time we open our doors for medical care. Mm-hmm. And those are people we're keeping out of the emergency rooms. That's one reason we try to get the hospitals to partner with us. We're saving you guys. Look at me. I'm looking at you. We're saving you a boatload of money. Partner with us and watch what happens. And the thing is we can then take over where they don't have to make sure these people stay compliant on their medications, get the follow-up care they need, what have you. That's a lot of what we do. But we can only, knowledge is power. We can only do what we know, and partnerships are power. The other thing is, I've been looking for more rentals that we can secure with a private owner. Okay. It's because we have people that are working and want to get off the streets, but it's so difficult to do right now with this housing crisis. Mm-hmm. So when people say, well, they don't want off the streets, let's back up on that just for a second before we close, is that I've never met anybody who wants to be homeless. Mm-hmm. I have met people that have chosen to remain homeless because it's so hard to get out of. And as a society, we make it very hard. And then we lie to ourselves that all this stuff is out there available. Why are they homeless? All that it's not. You can barely get food stamps anymore. And I'm not food stamps. I'm not a big proponent. That should be a bridge, A to B, to get you where you're going. It shouldn't be an everyday thing. That irritates the hell out of me when people have been on food stamps for years. But the other side of it is because we can't even get on a line with anybody the last few months that we have had to absorb. Everyone, there's complete food need as opposed to being to supplement that. So it really, the public has played a bigger part in it, is that we need the time, talents, treasures. We need the type of things that we ask for. What we don't need is for people to drop stuff off from their garage sale that didn't sell Saturday.
Right.
Which happens a lot.
More time.
I saw a posting where, whatever doesn't sell, I'll take Matthew's help. So please, God, don't. Because we're going to spend a small fortune sending it somewhere else or throwing it away.
The best thing to do is, if you would like to help, call Matthew's Hope. We have another way that the community can come and support, and that's the Giving on the Green. Shelley, can you tell a little bit more about Giving on the Green and the ways that our community can get involved, whether they're golfer or not?
Sure. It is on April 8th, right? Yeah. And we definitely need some sponsorships, which would be great. We have a lot of great sponsorships available. We also have foursomes available, and it's always a fun event. So, we're even our staff gets to get out and just enjoy, what we do on a daily basis.
It's really fun. I've been for a couple of years now with our team, and it's really great just to come out, meet the community, get out in the sun for a good cause. And yeah, I love it.
Well, I tell people it's the most fun you're going to have on a golf course legally.
It is.
It really is.
Right.
We really make it not just a golf outing, but an event.
It is fun.
One change we did make this year is we used to have a sip and stroll afterwards, and we're going to separate those two items because one, it made for a very long day for everybody. But in today's economy, it's also a bigger challenge. So we want to be conscious of that. We've tried to keep our prices down. Does it mean we make less? Yeah, it does. But we felt it was the right thing to do.
Okay.
And so, I think we've set it up to be a really good time. And again, that's going to take place on April 8th at the West Orange Country Club. And, you can go online to our website. You can secure your sponsorship there. You can secure your foursome there. You can also get information if you want to talk to us about creating something different. The other day, someone contacted us and they wanted to know about bringing this little mini, what was it, Volkswagen bus?
Tilly.
Tilly out there. That was Shannon Till, right? Yeah. From State Farm. And, we worked it out so it's going to happen. And it just makes it fun. We have cannon shots.
There's just something fun almost on every every
Yeah.
hole.
There's
I
more
mean, you're
going
not
on.
going out there to, win the tournament, but yay if you do.
Yeah.
You're really out there
And
to
if
just
you're a
have a
crappy
good time.
golfer, you still might win the thing, but you're going to probably have more fun than everybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we have opportunities to where you can buy little things, mulligans and different things. And because again, it's designed to have fun. If you think you're on a PGA Pro and you're looking to walk away, we're going to get all our stuff is handmade as far as our awards. You're going to get a really cool award. Trust me. But if that's what you're coming for and just want to be the best golfer out there, it's probably not going to be as much fun for you because you're going to be too serious for what's taking place.
Because we'll be out there in our tutus and everthing else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Who
guys.
knows, I might wear a Speedo this year.
No, okay.
dear.
Well, there you go. So we're gonna.
I won't.
Hey,
We'll
Look,
stick to our tutus.
if it raises money, I can do almost anything. So
Okay,
put that out
we
there.
might have a
Go
lot
ahead
of
and dare me
requests.
for something. I probably won't do. Look, first, I probably won't do a Speedo because, quite honestly, I'm not paying for anybody's counseling after that. Okay, loss of 40 pounds or not, that is just not something you want to see.
You'd raise money and then you'd have to take it away. So
Yeah.
that might not be a good idea. But we are open to ideas.
Yeah,
Just not that one.
not that one. Yeah,
Just kidding.
high heels, whatever. I can do that. Yeah.
Your toes are very pretty today, so they have to be open high heels.
Open.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I don't know if that can be seen on the camera, but when you say something, now see, that opens it up.
Well, what I'm going to do is we are going to take a picture of your toes today and we will post them on social media.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. There you go.
we'll
Now you
get
can
it
find
out
out what's
there.
going on. Make sure you give the backstory to it too.
I will.
Not that I've suddenly gotten into painting my toenails. So anyhow,
Good
Lord,
he gets his manicures and his pedicures, and I really am happy that you do that. It
has become interesting since I started doing it about a year and a half ago. And now when I go places that people are going, if I have shoes on, they're disappointed. If I have shoes, my regular sandals, which I mostly wear most of the time in my life, is everybody's going, hey, can I get a picture of your feet? I was going, wait a minute, hold on, is there money in this?
You should.
I know.
This is a good freezer. See? Idea.
Hey, for $100, I'll send you a picture of my feet. Yeah.
Well, like I told you,
So many things are wrong about that.
they made me smile. So see, they had a purpose for today. All right, we will talk to you guys soon. See you next time.
You guys.